Hey guys, my name is Manny Ruiz and I'm the founder and CEO of Hispanicize Media Group. Hispanicize Media Group is comprised of the annual Hispanicize event and Dime Media, which is the national network of Latino content creators and digital influencers. Hi guys, my name is Manny Ruiz and I'm the CEO and founder of Hispanicize Media Group. Hispanicize Media Group is comprised of the annual Hispanicize event and Dime Media, which is a national network of Latino and multicultural content creators and digital influencers. So the reason of our gathering today here is to help you develop a really cool and strong Latino perfect pitch submission. This national program was created by Wells Fargo in partnership with Hispanicize, and I want to just give you some insights, having been on both the side of selling and building and selling a company, and building and having a company financed. I think I can give you some tips today that will help you not only present a better perfect pitch submission, but also hopefully make a better presentation overall for you in your talks with other potential investors and organizations that you would want to partner with. So a couple of housekeeping items before I get into that. The submission deadline is Monday, March 7th, and the finalists will be announced approximately 2 weeks later. At Hispanicize 2016, we will be hosting the top 3 finalists that are selected by a distinguished panel of judges. So those are some brief information. Some people have asked, is this limited to Latinos only? No, it's open to everybody. But obviously, because Hispanicize is so linked with Latinos and multicultural creators and other entrepreneurs, we think that we will obviously have probably a higher percentage of submissions that are from Latino and multicultural creators. So everybody's welcome to submit, and I just wanted to clarify that. So what is needed? What do you need to submit? I'm going to tell you what you physically need to submit, and then I'm going to give you a couple tips on how to make that a very strong submission. So number one, you're going to need to produce a 1-minute YouTube video, very similar to this, by the way. You can do it right from your computer very simply, introducing your idea's unique value proposition. We're going to talk about that in a moment, and why you should be awarded the prize. You must provide a link, by the way, to that YouTube video, and you'll be able to provide that in the form that you're going to be submitting. We want to keep this very simple, by the way. So, normally you guys have heard of these crazy multi-page business plans. That's not what we're really after. We want to basically get a very short, concise, and very clear idea of what is the unique value proposition or uniqueness, if you will, of your idea that you think will help it stand out from other submissions. So you also need to provide, number two, a 2-page business plan overview. It's very simple. It must be submitted as a PDF document, and you can email it. You'll see a link in the form to email it or to put a link to the PDF in your submission. Number three, if your concept or idea has already begun to roll out, like for example, if you have a track record of 6 months or a year of proving the concept, give us that insight, give us that information, provide a sample case study on top of what you've submitted as a business plan, and that will also potentially help you make an even stronger argument for why your idea has so much potential. And then finally, but not least, don't forget a professional photo and biography for you and or your co-partners, if you will, in your venture. All right, so let's talk about ideas, right? Let's talk about what makes an idea stand out. And this is, the judging for this is going to have a percentage allotted to different components of your submission. I should probably review that as well. So number one, 30% of the judging is going to take place based on the originality of your business concept. How unique or innovative is it? How does it stand out, really, is what we're after, okay? It needs to show that it's a viable business idea, right? So not that it's something that's going to completely start and end automatically is really important. Something that has longevity to the concept would be important. And finally, it must showcase how this business concept can make an impact and could potentially do what's called scale, right? And we'll talk about scale as well because that's a really important concept that I think a lot of times, as myself as a small business owner who's been able to scale some of these businesses to make them bigger than what I probably began thinking about in the beginning, I can tell you that that's really important. 40% of your business pitch will be about how clearly you articulate your business plan and model. How precise, be very economical with your words, and be very precise about the ideas and the concepts, so that you can really have them stand out. Because a lot of people have a notion of the business idea and they think it's going to be good, but they don't really get into some clear, precise language that will help them stand out. And then finally, package quality. Pay attention to the details. Pay attention to spell check, grammatical presentation. Make sure that it's visually appealing if there's something visually appealing to show, and that it's clean and creative. Demonstrate professionalism. Remember, you're making an impression upon these judges. You're showing them, not just by your idea, but by the way you present it, how likely you are to succeed. So these are some of the general things that I wanted to go over. I'm actually going to go over the form a little bit, and I want you to be very clear about what we're looking for. So what's the name of your startup or concept, and when was the date that it was founded? You have a lot of leeway there. We have several years that you could have created this to then present it to us. So don't worry about the date as much, but present the name of the startup or the concept so that when we're labeling the different submissions, we have a good, simple way of looking at your submission. Second, what's the location of your startup? Now, I must tell you, it will have to be in the continental United States. So even if it's an international product or something that can go global, which would be awesome, don't forget that you and your concept must be headquartered in the United States. About your startup, what is it and what does it do? So very briefly, in this part of the form, 150 words or less, this is your elevator pitch. Pretend you're in an elevator with Mark Cuban and you want him to fund your company. What would you say? Say it in 150 words or less so that the judges will begin. These are some of the things that will almost pre-filter, give our judges a way of pre-filtering who's going to make even the cut to even have everything looked at as in-depth as everybody wants it. So it's really important that you pay attention to these things. And then we kind of got a little bit specific here, but what category of startup would you like to be considered for? Is it a media-related concept? Is it a music-related one? Social media, film, entertainment, marketing, technology, or is it other? Make sure you definitely note that. And then, of course, your 2-page business plan summary. Again, you don't have to put projections like you normally would in a big business plan, but you might want to provide as much detail as you can fit that you think will grab the judge's attention in 2 pages to show the concept and then how it may be rolling out and potential timelines and potential projections of what you expect. You may not need to get granular on how those projections are going to be made, at least in this stage of your submission, but you will need to at some point. And then, optional but very helpful, please provide a short case study if you have one available for your idea. Some of you have developed something that you've already begun to test market and it's going pretty well, or it could really just use a bump of investment or others. This is an opportunity to present something that as well. So if you have that, it's always going to be helpful to you. Of course, what's the name of the founders and the team? Your full contact information, your email, your social media handles. We'll probably be paying attention to what you're doing and how clean and structured you are, even in your overall social media. So don't underestimate any aspect of your presentation because it's really important. Then what's the funding status of your startup? Are you currently bootstrapped? Are you angel funded? Have a venture fund? Any other funding options? Let us know as well so we have a sense of that. Then, of course, provide the link to the YouTube video. And I just want to now talk to you about a couple of things that I think are important and that have helped me when I've been able to build these companies. I've built companies that have been sold, and I've built companies more recently. We made our own announcement, Hispanicized Media Group, of merging Hispanicize, the event, and our Dima Media platform, and we got a pretty significant funding round from a very strategic group of investors. So what's helped me in my career has been to develop concepts that have a unique value proposition. So my first major business idea, I have had numerous business ideas like many of you, was to build a press release service that was focused on U.S. Hispanic media for U.S. Hispanic and multicultural marketers. And I built and sold that company several years ago for $5.5 million called Hispanic PR Wire. It's now owned by a company called United. Well, actually, PR Newswire just sold, but it was purchased by a publicly traded company at the time called United Business Media. And people have asked me, well, what did you do that was successful besides tenacious amount of work, bootstrapping, having many days where you have, you wonder if you're going to survive. I've been through all that, been through every single thing. What helped me was building a unique value proposition. I built something that was razor focused on a need that was not being filled. Find the need, fill the gap. And I was tenacious about it. And also I had a plan on how to roll it out and make it bigger. So that's what we talk about, scalability. So the first thing that's important for your business idea is what's going to make your idea stand out, right? What's going to make it something that is more than just a potential little itty bitty business, and make it something that could potentially be a good size, medium or large business, or even a humongous concept. That is really, really important. Your unique value proposition. In my case, it was that we had built a U.S. Hispanic focused version of a business that existed for the non-Hispanic marketers and brands, and that really needed access to the Hispanic press in the format that I created, with a website, a press release, email distribution system, and just a lot of focus on servicing the needs of communications professionals. When we built the Hispanicize event, initially we began very much like another conference, and I hate the word conference, but we began as a conference. And very early on, we realized that what would make us unique would be to be more than just a conference, but to become a multi-industry event. And that's why after the first year, we were focused on public relations and social media. As we continue to evolve, we said, let's make the music industry involved in this. Let's get the film industry involved in this. Let's, continue to work with technologists and other Latino tech companies. So we were able to scale the business from something and not as focused on being a national thing to be making it an event that is today the multi-industry event of the country for the U.S. Hispanic market. And so it's really important that you build an idea that is unique and that is scalable. And that's the second word that I want to talk about. And I think one of the things that I've learned as an entrepreneur, and I've learned this from the Israelis who are masters at this. Israel is a tiny country with not a very large population in Israel. But if you notice the startup scene in Israel, it's characterized by having global ideas. There's almost nothing coming out of Israel that is not a global, game-changing idea in healthcare, in technology. There are so many companies that we now know in the United States. I met a founder the other day from YouNow, for example. All of these people are changing the world, but they came at it, the marketplace, with not a small business idea that was pretty good, but like an idea that was big thinking, big scalability. That makes your idea that much more attractive. When our judges are looking at it, they're going to look for, can this be an idea that is regional, national, or maybe international? And if it has some solid ways of protecting that position of being very unique and just need some funding, I think that'll make your idea stand out so much more. So keep that in mind. That's really, really critical. I think it's also going to be important that you show in your submission. I've been a judge of competitions like this, but I think it's also going to be critical that you show how your idea has barriers to entries. You know how it's not easy for everybody to duplicate. That's something that we don't take care of a lot of time. We come up with an idea, but when we come up with it, it's something that everybody can do. You know, one of the things that we did when we built the Hispanicized event, for example, in order to ensure it wasn't as easy to duplicate, we added all these industries year after year. And today it's really, really difficult. I wouldn't, try to do something like Hispanicized very easily because it's so hard to bring multiple industries. It's hard enough to get one industry, but it's even harder when you have multiple industries that have to be part of something like this. And that was a way that I personally made our concept, the Hispanicized event, even harder, creating what's called a barrier to entry to duplicate. So think about that as well. And if you could present that as part of another point within your submission, I think that will be very, very helpful. And then finally, do talk about how you're going to market it. Do be prepared to address the marketing, the potential sale. How is this going to be sold? How is this going to be distributed? How are people going to find out about it? What is going to be your unique, sustainable barrier to entry as you evolve from stage 1 to stage 2, stage 3? So, as much detail as you could provide, do it. And I wish you all many blessings and good luck. And I hope to see you in Miami and that you're one of the finalists for the 2016 Latino Perfect Pitch presented by Wells Fargo and Hispanicized. So with that, I leave you. And if you have any other questions, there will be an email listed in the submission form. So I wish you the best and God bless. Take care.